Hello, everyone. This is Incite and Excite. I'm going to do something a little bit different, in which I present to you my expectations of this movie before I go watch it. So the first part will be me just explaining what I hope to see in this movie, and then the second part will be me, examining the actual narrative structure. Basically, the movie was, written well, shot well, if it incited, if it was exciting, all that. So here's my basic list of, before I watch it, what I'm coming into expecting or want to see, right? So I'm gonna assume that this movie will focus on monster fights, and I would hope that they would actually show monster behavior, or like zoological references to the monsters. But I expect none of that. I expect it's just gonna be flat out just monster fights. Maybe some, I don't know, historical references, because I know we keep seeing cave art and stuff, but I don't think it's gonna be anything like significant. I think it was the director who was stating like they're gonna try to make these monsters as realistic as possible. Like if you ever found these skeletons, they will seem real. But again, I doubt that they're gonna show anything that's of substance. So another thing I'm gonna expect in this movie is that the terrorist group is just gonna fuck over humanity. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't want to live anymore. I'm pretty sure these are like the extreme Greenpeace people, where where they see humans as the disease. And I'm pretty sure this can go different ways. They can either be like the monsters. I keep hearing like bring balance, right? um I'm sure they're gonna play the overpopulation card here. So the monsters are gonna be used to disrupt humanity, stop it, because they know we're the fever, right? So we're gonna have to be put in check. But I'm pretty sure the terrorist group is gonna be not just put in check, but they're gonna want all humanity gone. That's what I think. I'm reminded of like Pokemon villains now, where I forgot which one. Where I'm pretty sure like, hey, yeah, humans need to be wiped out. This should be obvious. Humans do not trust the monster or the monarch, but then they do. You know, I'm sure they had their own plan. I'm sure they're just gonna kill the monsters. That's what humans do, right? They just kill monsters. Like, disregard any plan B, or other alternatives. It's just gonna be military. Point your missiles, your nukes to these guys. Another thing I'm going to expect is that the girl, the one we see in the trailer, she's not going to be important, but the movie's going to focus on her to be the audience avatar, either through like the moral grounds. We see it as a kid, because how you always get like the kid knows what's right and wrong, but the parents or the adults don't. That's what I expect, and if it is, I'm going to be super annoyed. I also plan, or not plan, I also expect that there isn't going to be any like romance in this movie. It's just going to be, this movie is just literally made just to see monsters fight. At least that's what I'm getting from the trailers. Maybe family stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's just, well, every movie, even like in a monster movie, they need something that connects with the viewer, and I'm pretty sure it's just going to be family, because we keep seeing that photo of the family and like, oh yeah, we want family. Family needs to be fought for. I'm guessing that's going to be the whole point of this movie. The terrorist group is going to try to screw over the family or something. I don't know. I guess another point will be that I know Mothra is going to die. She has to die. Everyone knows that. I'm assuming she's going to sacrifice herself. But what I kind of want is, I think this movie, because of the trailer, it's like a fight to be king, right? But I think Mothra is the only one who doesn't fight to be king or queen for her. And I'm assuming like she's gonna do something that convinces the other monsters not to either be such dicks, at least to the point where Ghidorah is like the head dick here. But yeah, I think her death will start a chain reaction, which convinces other monsters to work together. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. The and I know, hey, it's not a spoiler. We know Godzilla's gonna win, duh. But since we're gonna expect a tie-in, I expect them. Once Godzilla wins, becomes the king of the monsters. If this isn't the ending, this is what the post credit scene would be. King Kong just rising and just looking at the screen. That's what I. That's what I think. That's what I expect coming to this movie. I expect it to be just monster fights. Hopefully, not like in the first movie where they put way too much human bullcrap. Like we didn't watch a Godzilla movie to see human stories, right? That's not. I don't think that's the point for these types of movies. But you do need an audience avatar. You do need some emotional connection because you can't just see two monsters fight each other because you need some context. But of course we do get the context, but we need to know the stakes, and that's what humans serve in this. So hopefully this movie meets my satisfactions. I'm looking forward for Rodan. Again, when watching the trailer, when the Rodan does like a barrel roll, that is I always skip it to like that part. That's the coolest part I've ever seen a monster do. And I hope well, Ghidorah's just always been cool. King Ghidorah. Godzilla's vanilla. Can we agree that Godzilla is basically really vanilla? Maybe it's because we've been exposed to it for so long, but. And again, I am looking forward to how Mothra. It's more a weaponized form, or danger form, or whatever you call it. I hope we see something because I'm sure we're not just gonna see Mothra be like super gentle, right? We're gonna see some epic stuff with it. All right, so look forward to my review in a couple of seconds. All right, after watching the movie, I am satisfied with it. The marketing kind of pushed a battle royale narrative, which did not deliver, but we did get some cool fights. Even though some of them are like a minute long, which I wish they were longer. I wish they actually showed more, like more. It's not choreography, or maybe it is, but just better fights in general. Like yeah, we see them tackle each other, but whatever. All right. Quick notes before the real discussion. There was, I think, a good balance between human drama and monster drama. All right, the fights, the CGI were great. I was never taken out of it like, oh, this looks so fake. The humans were not too annoying. It was just typical, we have to kill the monsters before they kill us, and the monsters are our only hope, blah, 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 And what else? Quick notes. Yeah, just a good cast. The acting was great. Some parts were funny. Some parts were sad. A couple of deaths were like out of nowhere, which is cool. I like that. But sometimes you're like, you kind of should have. If there's not a real impact in a death, then that death was wasted. That's just my opinion. But or like a death needs to like have a message in it. I just want to emphasize this is a must watch. Go to the theater, go watch this movie. I'm gonna go see it again, probably even a third time. But yeah, go watch it. All right, so again, in my reviews, I like just to break a movie down with: did it excite you and did it incite the audience? First, let's tackle the insight. So of course, this movie consists of huge monsters going in at it. Destroying buildings, fighting jets, and again, we do have like 30 seconds of a thermonuclear Godzilla. Yeah, it's fair to say this movie was literally made to incite emotions and to create talks from the audience. Like, you are going to step out of the audience and talk about it. Like, oh, remember that scene? Remember that scene? Remember when Godzilla did that? That's what's going to happen when you get out of this movie theater. Okay, so obviously this movie had all the ingredients to make a huge waves on the community. But did it? That's the question, right? Or not did it, to what degree it did. And that's where we move on to the excite part. So did this movie excite you? Were you excited while watching this movie? Because I would say it's a 7 out of 10 for me on the excite part. Okay, from my expectation list, I thought that they would play it a little differently. I figured it would be like a fight to the top. I was maybe expecting more monsters or off-screen fights. I know they said like 17 Titans and counting, but I figured like they would at least say, yeah, Ghidorah's like knocking each one out as they go. But King Ghidorah just took the Alpha title after fighting Godzilla or after fighting Rodan, and I didn't really think it was gonna be that simple. Especially since each monster has their own strengths and weaknesses, and I just this kind of bothered me. So I don't know if it bothered you, but let me just say, Rodan was a cuck, right? Like, fuck, cuck behavior. From the trailers, I was expecting more iconic, more epic scenes with him alone, just Rodan, right? Something that cast away the whole, oh, he's just a giant bird monster that flies and kills people. Like, taking a look at this image with him with Ghidorah, right? Like, what were you expecting? Because that whole scene was like, of course, I might be remembering it wrong, but that was like a 10-second fight. It sucked. And I get the in-world explanation, group dynamics and all, but come on. I wanted more of a war of monsters, a power vacuum war. But I'm not going to bitch about how the movie played out. That's why I say I'm going to watch it again. And you should watch it again. This movie was great. Besides the fights, story-wise, it was fine. It follows that basic formula. Like, group finds guy to help. Guy doesn't 100% agree with the group, but the group has to still, plan it out. Group has a plan, but outside force screws them over. They get a second chance, and then finally, with all the new information gathered, they're able to fight and solve the conflict. Right, so that's that basic formula. There's a threat. We need to put things aside, kinda, or at least with the main character, which I would think is that guy. Would it be his arc? They kind of play it like it's his arc, but they don't focus in on it enough for me to comfortably say that. But again, it's a monster movie, right? It's not a film. It's a movie. And everything transitioned smoothly. I wasn't ever like the editing wasn't bad. The acting wasn't bad. All the actors were great. There was a couple of scenes. I think it was Chen and Ling. I think that was played by the same character. That kind of caught me off guard. I'm sure that was a surprise with some people, unless they already knew beforehand. But yeah. Again, there was nothing in this, anything involving humans. There was nothing that pissed me off. Nothing that annoyed me. You might, or some might find like the mother's role annoying, and how she went out at the end. But again, that's someone trying to find redemption. And you probably saying, well, they could have just left that and they could have just flown away. Well, what happens once the Ghidorah destroys that thing, right? You have to move that orca mechanism, so you actually have enough time to escape, or for the other family to escape. And I would say, like, progressively, I kind of do like seeing a woman being shown doing the sacrifice moment, because it's usually the father or the male role. So I found this kind of I'm not saying different, but like, hey, at least they didn't do the same old, right? Which could have easily been done. Because of course the father's role, like, he wasn't there. And he was gonna let that happen again. So it couldn't have been the father, because he doesn't want to be that same, like, hey, if I wasn't there in your past, a sacrifice wouldn't work, because you're not gonna be there for the future. Yeah. So again, acting, character arcs were fine. The bad guy, the main bad guy, right? This guy. I wouldn't say he's cartoony, but he's kind of cartoony, and which I thought. So let's go back to my my expectations list, right? So the first one was The movie will focus on monster fights and not really discuss human physiology or zoological references, right? Monster behavior. And I guess I was right. And I think I said I wish they would go into that, but of course we're gonna have 4+ monsters in this movie. You can't really go like in depth um, descriptions of all these all these monsters, right? So we see what we see. We're able to see some behavior, personalities from these monsters, which I guess was fine. Um, and yeah, this movie did rely on the monster fights for the spectacle, which again I'm not trying to say that was bad, but I don't think I learned anything besides Mothra. I didn't think I learned anything from this movie, monster wise. So my next on the list was the terrorist group will try to fuck over humanity. Rebirth. Which I want to point out that the rebirth part. I don't think I was even explained in the first movie, but the whole once a monster comes and fights, they leave this type of radiation which causes life to grow. That was kind of cool. With I think it said with a brush fire, a fire kind of rejuvenates the soil and all that. I like that aspect, and I liked again. I liked and I kind of didn't like because it's kind of cartoony, but of course, if you really believe humans are destroying the earth, this is the only logical solution to this problem. And I don't think it got preachy. And if someone says it's preachy, I'll debate you. Like, no, this is subtle. Not well, it's not like super subtle, but it's like you can't say it's on the like SJW. Like, this is more backed up, I guess you would say. All right, so my next on the list was: do humans? The humans do not trust monsters, but then they do. They had their own plans. That was, I think that's like obvious. You had to come into the movie expecting that, and yeah, it's that same formula. Like you can't trust things that we don't understand, but you have to because they're there. They're there for a reason, right? Godzilla's there to, I don't know, protect humanity, but I don't think that's the actual role. And of course, the military has to screw everything up with that anti-oxygen bomb. But again, since it's to be expected, you can't say, "Oh, this movie sucks because of," because that's going to be in the movie. Like kind of like how Godzilla's going to win. All right, so the next part was the girl is not important, but the movie focuses on her for audience, to be as an audience avatar. Well, she did serve a function in this movie. I did not know that she knew the plan. I was like, what? Why would he tell your daughter the plan? But of course, the mother told her a more, I don't know, like a better version of the plan. Like, oh, no one's gonna really die. Yeah, maybe some will die. But yeah, it's just the fact that she was on her side to begin with, and she's old enough to know, like, hey, people will die, like, and you're still on her side. But once reality hits her, like, of course she's going to be against the plan, which again goes to reason, like, why did he tell her to begin with? And again, since this movie kind of centers around family, which I don't think you can connect the monster verse, or not the monster verse, but because when you have a micro problem, it has to be a macro problem as well, or there's like a metaphor for it. And at this moment, I'm not connecting family dynamics with being an apex predator or maintaining alpha status. And again, that's why I will fault this movie in that sense. And of course, if I care for good writing, right? I care for connections, and I'm not seeing any connections other than like centering the movie on a family's dysfunction while the end of the world is right there. So yeah, that's when I will fault this movie. So my next on the list was that no love interest, no romance, which they did. I'm glad. I doubt. Oh, of course they weren't going to get back together. She killed herself. But Yeah, I kind of like that. There's no like bullcrap romance to slow down the movie. I think we remember the Meg, how like monsters or not monsters, like a shark is trying to kill us, but you're also trying to get laid. You know, I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, what's interesting? Oh no, he wasn't trying to get laid. He just that's just an outcome of the movie. Like, hey, you like me, I like you. Let's go on a date, right? It seems out of nowhere, and I'm glad this movie didn't even try to do that. All right, so my next on the list was Mothra dies, starts a chain reaction with other monsters. So again, I thought it was going to be like a power vacuum, but Mothra was going to be different. But no, it's once Godzilla is taken out, once Rodan apparently is taken out, all the monsters just fall into place. And I'm glad that Mothra was still not following King Ghidorah even after he became the Alpha, which I guess kind of means something. But again, Mothra was not utilized the way I thought she was gonna be, especially with that her fighting form. There was like a cool like 1 minute fight scene. I think it's only 1 minute long. Where Mothra fights Rodan, and the fight was cool, but it could have been better. I thought we were going to see real fights, and I was actually kind of hoping. I was hoping for this, a 3-on-1, Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan versus King Ghidorah. I was hoping for that, but no. but which again is fine, whatever. And so yeah, the obviously we knew Godzilla was gonna win at the end. I didn't really expect a kneel where every monster kneels down and praises Godzilla as the Alpha King or whatever. That was dumb. And we didn't get that King Kong looking at the screen like what, like who you say is king. I was really hoping for that, especially since this is a fan movie, and if this was a fan movie, you would expect that kind of scene. That scene would have gotten everyone in the audience just screaming. I do also want to bring up the deaths in these movies. When Ken Watanabe's character died, I don't know about you, but I did have some emotional reaction towards it. I do also want to. I don't know if this was even significant or not. But how many humans do you know actually touched a kaiju? Or did I say kaiju? Here they're called titans. Um, like I don't know if it's significant in the fact that he actually touched Godzilla, and the other character, I forgot her name at this moment. You know how she wasn't able to touch Mothra. So I don't know if that, you would say like that means like there's an interpretation that can be said there. But I do like that whole sequence. It was, I guess it was rewarding watching that. But and did I expect again a lot of these deaths I did not expect. Of course, in the third one we don't need you, so let's just kill you off, I guess. But I do want to bring out Ken Watanabe's sacrifice. I felt, though it kind of course it was required. It was, of course, not expected, but that doesn't mean it wasn't satisfying. And at least there was some type of emotional toll when he does, sacrifice himself. And aside from that, I am reading some Rotten Tomato scores. I guess the critics are not into this movie. I think one generalized comment was just the writing was bad. Again, I wouldn't say the writing is bad. I don't know what kind of criteria they follow. The sequences make sense. Narratively, it makes sense. All the transitions were not jarring. Some of the, I guess you could say, the behavior of the monsters was kind of questionable. But again, that's explained in the movie. Uh, Focusing on a family might have been a mistake because again, like I said, if there's a macro problem, it should be a metaphor for the micro problem, and maybe that again, their comments are never really good. All they say, oh, the writing sucks because the writing sucks because reviewers don't know how to review, and it follows, this whole movie follows that. It's the same formula of writing this movie, the same sequence, the same beats. So you can't say this movie sucks because the writing. Was it innovative? Not really. Was it was it something that that satisfies the fans? Of course, because I think it has got the fans rating is 90%, around 90, and of course the critics are 40. And I don't know if it's just that, I guess reviewers don't know the difference between a movie and a film. Of course, I use that arbitrary distinction, but I can still say a movie, even though it's, like, oh, it's a movie. I can still say yes, it's a great, like, it deserves a 90 plus rating. And I can also say, oh, this is a film and it sucks because, again, following the same requirements of what this movie serves. And I guess there's a concept of being fair when, or, again, that's why I put up my expectations, because this is what I expect this movie to be. And if it's too different in the sense that it's not a fan movie or for the fans, two, it's not a spectacle movie, which kind of goes with what the fans want. And again, this movie knows what it is. You can't say this movie sucks. So, and again, I'm with the fans who say like this is like a 90 or a 90% plus better movie. All right, so let me know what you guys think. At the leave a comment if it met your expectations. Again, before you watch a movie, write down what you expect the movie to be, right? Because a lot of people, they go see a movie, watch a movie, and then after watching the movie, that shapes your perception of the movie. Write it down before you watch it, so you can actually critique the movie. Because I think marketing, or the way you're being told the movie's going to play out, is very important. Because that way you can have the studios held responsible. Because like, hey, you guys told me this was going to be the movie, but you get something entirely different, or something like, or you can praise them like, yes, you told me exactly what I was going to get, and I got what I got. So again, I recommend doing that. Leave a comment if you guys have any comments, especially if you think the family does serve a deeper purpose. The sacrifice, Ken Watanabe's character's sacrifice was lame. I'll debate you on that. I think it is actually like you would cry watching that scene. All right, so thank you for listening to me ramble. Again, go watch this movie. I don't know what, if you haven't watched this movie, what the hell are you listening to this? Go watch the movie. Again, I'm gonna probably watch it again and again, and eventually on the fourth time, I'm gonna be pissed that the fight scenes were not a little bit more cathartic, not a little bit more, had more substance than just these monsters pecking at each other. Because again, that's what all these fights were. They were just pecking at each other. All right, later, guys.